Earth, relentlessly spinning, never quiet beneath its own noise, its rush, and the heavy burden of its gravity, that tired blue sphere. Humanity, for thousands of years, whenever they raised their heads to the sky every night, watched that silent, smooth, and flawless silver sphere shining in the midst of the pitch-black darkness, the moon. Reaching it was not just a discovery, it was also the desire to escape all that chaotic noise of the world, that heavy gravity, and take refuge in an absolute silence. We are in that very special, secret, and peaceful place, where all the boundaries of time and space softly melt away. The Fate Whisper Room. Its walls are illuminated with very soft, amber lights that blink slowly as if breathing, soothing the soul. Inside, there is that very familiar, comforting scent of old books and fresh rain. In the exact center of the room, a smooth, massive crystal console stands, glowing very faintly with its own internal rhythm. Leo and Zoe are settled into those deep and soft armchairs in this room, which perfectly mold to the shape of their bodies. In their eyes, there is that deep, sweet, and peaceful excitement of leaving the heavy, exhausting gravity of the earth behind, and embracing the absolute, compassionate silence of space. Leo slowly raises his hand, and gently runs his fingertips over that warm crystal console. The crystal responds to his touch with a very light, lullaby-like vibration radiating from the floor. "I want to completely get away from all the sounds, the wind, and the weight of the earth," whispers Leo. His voice echoes softly in the peaceful silence of the room. "Take us to the quietest corner of that silver sphere in the sky, to those first moments when we felt completely weightless, as light as a feather." Zoe smiles with a very calm, sweet expression and nods, letting go of all the burden on her shoulders and taking a deep, very deep breath. The voice of that wise, velvety, soft, and compassionate artificial intelligence in the room. Fate Whisper echoes in the void like a warm breeze. "Welcome, Leo and Zoe. Drifting in that silent river of time and space is entirely in your hands. The coordinates for our first stop have been set. We are going to that era when humanity didn't just touch that silver sphere, but began to breathe peacefully there, to the year 2060. Whenever you are ready, please touch that softly glowing transition button." With that great, indescribable peace inside them, Leo and Zoe slowly reach out and press that softly lit button. As those warm amber lights in the room, slowly, gracefully turn into the endless, deep, and mesmerizing blackness of space, time and space bend around them with a cotton-like softness. When the bending of time slowly stops, they are no longer on Earth. That first feeling that surrounds them is an absolute and flawless silence, of a kind the human mind has never experienced before. There is no wind, no hum, no familiar weight of the atmosphere. This is a luxury shelter built on the lunar surface. They are inside a massive and cozy moon tent, protected by a transparent, invisible energy shield. The inside of the tent is designed exactly like their favorite resting corner at home. Soft, smooth carpets, warm armchairs that embrace the body. The air inside is so clean, so fresh, that every breath drawn fills the lungs like pure life energy. Outside is a desolation more enchanting than words can describe. Pure white, smooth moon dust stretches all the way to the horizon, where it sharply meets the pitch-black, endless darkness of space. Zoe approaches the edge of the transparent tent with a hot cup of coffee, its steam rising very slowly. Because gravity is only 1/6 of the Earth's, even the movement of the coffee inside the cup is like a dream. In slow motion, it ripples softly and silkily. Leo comes beside her too, and that moment, that miraculous moment begins. Right behind the horizon line, from that line where the sharp white and black meet, softly, silently, a massive sphere begins to rise. Earth, that deep blue of the oceans, those pure white swirls of the clouds, the green and brown texture of the continents, all of it, slowly floats upwards in the middle of that endless blackness, like a glowing, living jewel. Watching the Earth rise from the moon, looking at your own home, at all your memories, at all of humanity from so far away, from such a silent and safe place, instantly wipes away all the chaos, all the rush inside the soul. The Earth continues to spin there, But you are completely outside of that speed, of that time. In the exact center of absolute peace. As the earth softly rises and takes its place in the sky, Fate Whisper's velvet voice mixes into the warm air inside the tent. Watching the earth from this far away makes one feel how small and how in need of protection it is, doesn't it? It is time to go on that walk on the silver sands, where you will completely forget your own weight. I invite you to that elegant glass terrace right on the edge of the Tycho crater. Your smart walking suits are ready. Leo and Zoe, put on those smart, ultra-thin suits that look no different from a normal spring jacket, but perfectly balance body heat, pressure, and oxygen. The energy shield of the tent softly parts like a soap bubble as they pass through, and seconds later, they are on the pure white, desolate surface of the moon. They take their first steps. That body weight they felt with every step on Earth, that pressure on their knees, is completely gone. Leo takes a step, and his body practically floats slowly in the air, landing softly seconds later. They are as light as a feather. That billions of years old, ultra-fine moon dust beneath their feet makes that very light, mind-numbing, faint rustling sound with every step. Hush, hush. This sound is the only melody within the silence. Every leap, the feeling of hanging in the air, is like those childhood dreams of flying turning into reality. No weight, no effort, there is only floating. As they move forward with soft and slow motion steps, the massive Tycho crater appears before them. Formed billions of years ago, a miles-wide, boundless, silent valley. Right on the edge of the crater, extending into the void of the cliff, a completely transparent, invisible glass terrace has been built. Leo and Zoe slowly glide onto this transparent terrace. Beneath their feet stretches the massive depth of the crater, but there is no fear of falling. Because the gravity is so weak, the terrace so safe that they simply feel as if they are hanging in the sky. They look at the massive, dark crater below and the glowing blue earth standing right in front of them. Being as light as a feather, in the middle of this desolation, this massive void. In this silver world where the wind never blows, where sound never travels, hearing only the rhythmic, slow, and peaceful sound of their own heartbeats. You softly release all the weights in your mind, all the thoughts you left on Earth, into the endless void of this crater. Your body is so light that, when you close your eyes, you feel that you have completely disappeared, blending into the soft fabric of the universe. Everything is very slow, everything is very silent, and you are in absolute safety, inside this endless void. That endless void of the Tycho crater softly fades away along with a silver dust cloud blowing past like the wind. When that cotton-like bending of time and space slowly stops, Leo and Zoe, with the remnants of that sweet, numbing lightness in their bodies, return once again to the safe, warm amber atmosphere of the Fate Whisper room. They are sunk deep into their soft armchairs. On their faces is a deep drowsiness left by that unique weightlessness and the absolute desolation at the edge of the crater. Zoe, sinking her shoulders fully into the chair, smiles with her eyes half closed. The rustle on that dust, hanging in the air like a feather when I stepped. Leo, looking at the earth while standing on the edge of that void. How it silences all those rushed voices inside a person, one by one. Leo slowly rests his head against the back of the chair. His voice is as calm and slow as the dim lights in the room. Yes, there was no wind, no cold, just us and the silence of that massive crater. But Zoe, after that tremendous vastness on the surface, I wonder if a person could descend into the heart of the moon, deep into that silver sphere. What would that feeling of absolute isolation and being embraced be like? The scent of fresh rain in the room softly gives way to a very light, warm, and comforting scent of steam, as Fate Whisper's velvet-like whisper echoes in their minds. Descending from the vastness into the depths, completely isolating the mind from all the stimuli of the outside world, and leaving it in the safe, warm, womb-like arms of the planet. This is a very wise desire. Now, I am taking you from that bright light on the surface of the moon, to that hidden paradise that hid in the dark for billions of years, turning into a dream with the touch of humanity, to the year 2080. In this world without oceans, you will meet water in its most magical form. Please, Touch the second button. Leo and Zoe, with that sweet, warm curiosity awakening inside them, press the softly glowing second button. The room's lights this time take on a deep, warm ruby and amber tone, as they feel themselves gliding slowly downwards, deep downwards. When the lights slowly become clear, they no longer see the sky or the earth. They are miles beneath the surface of the moon. This is a massive underground lava tube left over from billions of years ago when the moon was still young and fiery. A massive, cathedral-like underground cave hundreds of meters high, left behind by the flowing ancient lava. But this place is no longer dark and cold. The sight they encounter pushes the limits of the human mind, possessing a tremendous fascination of a kind no eye has ever seen before. The massive, naturally curved walls of the cave are covered in giant luminescent crystals unique to the depths of the moon, never discovered before. These crystals glow with a deep golden yellow and a warm amethyst purple color, taking breaths in a very slow rhythm, as if the cave has its own heartbeat. The light filters through the veins of the stones, bathing the entire cave in a dim, dreamlike warmth. But the real miracle happens in the middle of this massive cave. There is no pool or lake resting on the ground like on Earth. Thanks to the artificial gravity being reduced almost to zero, hundreds of tons of piping hot, mineral-rich thermal water floats in the air in massive, flawless spheres. These giant water drops, the size of rooms, hover in the void over invisible magnetic fields, turning in slow motion just like crystal planets. The surface of the water reflects the golden yellow crystals on the cave walls like a mirror, glowing like massive, hot liquid suns floating in the air. Leo and Zoe, wearing their ultra-thin, breathable, silky suits designed for entering the water, detach very slowly from the smooth stone floor of the cave. A small leap, and they are entirely in the air. When their feet leave the ground, in the midst of that tremendous silence, they glide in slow motion toward one of the floating water spheres. As they get closer, they feel the soothing, warm steam of the water on their faces. And Leo softly releases his body into that massive sphere of hot water suspended in the air. That first moment they enter the water, the surface of the water embraces their bodies without showing any resistance. There is no sinking to the bottom like on Earth, no being crushed under the water. There is only hanging weightlessly in the air, in a fetal position, inside a warm, liquid cocoon. The water is so warm, its minerals so dense that, the moment it touches the skin, it absorbs all the tension in the muscles, all the weight in the bones like a sponge. Zoe floats inside the same massive water sphere, right across from Leo. Their heads are outside the water, but their bodies are completely free inside that warm, golden glowing liquid. Moving arms and legs inside the water is like swimming among the clouds. The water doesn't ripple quickly like on Earth. Every movement they make creates very slow, very soft curves inside the water. In that massive silence of the cave, the only thing they hear is that very deep, very rhythmic whoom, whoom sound the water makes as it turns inside those massive spheres. Those warm lights reflecting from the crystals on the walls filter through the water and hit their faces. You don't need to go anywhere. There is no ground to step on, no gravity. Inside this billions of years old silent cave, inside a safe, warm, and massive drop of water, you are floating completely isolated from the rest of the universe. Your eyelids grow heavier and heavier with the peace of this warm water and that golden light. Your muscles melt, the weight of your bones completely disappears, while the soft, warm embrace of the water sings a lullaby to your body. The dim, purple, and golden yellow colors of the cave blend together. Everything surrenders to a flawless harmony. Everything surrenders to an endless drowsiness. The peace of that massive, warm water drop floating in the air disperses like a curtain of mist, giving way to the familiar scent of fresh rain in the room. As the deep, resonant hum of the billions of years old underground cave softly fades away, Leo and Zoe, with that tremendous drowsiness where all the muscles in their bodies seem to have melted, where all the weight in their bones has mixed into the water, return to the safe walls of the Fate Whisper Room. They are sunk so deep into their armchairs, they seem to have become one with the soft fabric of the seat. On their faces, is an indescribable relaxation and sleepiness left by those warm underground waters. Leo, barely parting his eyes, speaks in a very slow voice mixed with a whisper. Floating inside that water drop, I have never felt this light, this detached from the world in my entire life, Zoe. The embracing warmth of the water made me forget everything. Zoe, without lifting her head at all, smiles, enjoying that sweet numbness on her shoulders. Yes, Leo, the protectiveness of that cave was unique. But now, I want to emerge from that depth and glide on the surface once again. On a windless night, under the stars, to fall into a long, very long dream that feels like it will never end. Only silence, and the endless sky. As those soft amber lights of the room, in harmony with Zoe's desire, dim very slightly and take on the tones of night blue. Fate whispers wise, lullaby-like voice affectionately wraps around their minds. After a deep cleansing, the soul wanting to float freely and then surrender to absolute silence, is the most natural rhythm of the universe. I'm taking you on a long and dreamlike journey through time. You will glide on those smooth lunar craters of the year 2100, pass through its glowing, silent forests, and finally, in that absolute, lightless silence, you will fall asleep on the dark side. Close your eyes, and softly touch that pale, blue button. Leo and Zoe, with that sweet heaviness of this night journey, touch the button. As the room's lights turn completely into a deep night indigo, the last thoughts in their minds also melt and disappear in the cool void of space. The bending of time ends this time as slowly and softly as a feather falling to the ground. They are on the surface of the moon again, but this time they are not walking. On their feet, perfectly adapted to the 1/6 gravity, are special, very soft-soled smart boots. Before them stretches an endless, smooth crater plain covered in silver moon dust. Leo and Zoe, releasing all the tension in their shoulders, gently push themselves forward. In that moment, the most enchanting dance of weightlessness begins. There is no walking, no stepping, there is only gliding smoothly, in slow motion. Those smart boots beneath their feet, creating no friction at all on the moon dust, allow them to slide forward smoothly, like an ice skater gliding on ice. Every push carries them meters forward, as if floating from one cloud to another. With every leap into the air, time slows down. They hang in the air for seconds, and land back on the silver sands as softly as a snowflake. There is only one sound around. That very light, very rhythmic, mind-numbing rustle the boots make every time they touch the fine, silver sands. Shush. Shush. Just like the waves of a distant ocean washing very slowly onto the shore. This rhythmic glide slows the body down like a metronome. Their heartbeats synchronize with the rhythm of that glide, with that slow-motion piece. In the sky, that massive, bright blue light of the earth softly stretches their shadows over the silver sands. As they glide near the end of the crater, an incredible sight appears before them. Right in the middle of the silver desert, a massive, transparent glass dome. From the inside out, it carries very warm, golden yellow and emerald green soft lights illuminating the night. They glide in through the transparent and silent doors of this massive dome. This is the Silent Moon Botanical Garden, the exact opposite of the desolation outside, but just as peaceful. The moment they enter, they take off their helmets, and their lungs fill with that pure, cool, and fresh oxygen produced by trillions of leaves. The dizzying, relaxing scent of fresh earth, damp moss, and night-blooming exotic flowers instantly wipes away all the fatigue in their minds. They are among massive, genetically modified plants, grown in lunar soil. The leaves of the trees here are not green. From within themselves, through a bioluminescent technology, they emit a golden yellow and soft amber light. Following that bright sap flowing through the veins of the plants, they slowly move forward on the dirt path with gliding steps. Above, through the transparent glass dome, that massive blue light of the earth filters down. Below, there is that warm, golden yellow glow of the plants surrounding them. That dreamlike atmosphere where blue and golden lights mix in this silent forest turns their walk into a meditation. The leaves don't stir at all. There is no wind. There is only an absolute peace filtering through the giant vines and feather-like branches that have reached massive sizes in the 1/6 gravity. Walking through this silent and glowing forest, you feel the universal, embracing breath of nature right in your heart. From the other end of the forest, they slowly glide out of the dome. Now they transition to the deepest, most isolated part of the journey. They sit on a silent, magnetic platform, and the platform begins to slide completely vibration-free toward that invisible line of the moon, toward that mysterious region where the Earth's light can never reach. To the dark side, when they look back, that massive blue Earth shining on the horizon slowly sets behind the curve of the moon. The blue light fades. All the radio waves from Earth, all those invisible voices, broadcasts, signals, and rushes remain behind that horizon. Communication is completely severed, and when they reach the dark side, they are left alone with the true, massive, and silent face of the universe. The moment the Earth's light disappears, the sky suddenly illuminates with a sea of stars so dense, bright, and layered that the human mind cannot comprehend it. The Milky Way, that magnificent river made of massive purple, navy, and golden dust clouds, consisting of billions of stars, covers the sky from one end to the other. There is no hazy atmosphere getting in the way like when looking from Earth. No light pollution. The stars are so bright, so clear that it feels as if you could touch them if you reached out. In that absolute silence of the dark side, buried in the smooth sands, luxury sleep pods made entirely of transparent glass await them. Leo and Zoe softly lie down inside these ergonomic pods that perfectly regulate body heat, as safe as a mother's womb. The transparent cover of the pod closes silently over them. Inside is warm and cozy. Outside is an absolute, freezing silence. Feel yourself sinking into that soft mattress inside the pod. All the weights on your back, all the tensions in your neck, melt away into the texture of this smart bed. There are no sounds of the earth in your ears. You are hundreds of thousands of miles away from the rush, the chaos of billions of people on the planet. There is a whole mass of the moon in between. No one can reach you. No thought can leak in here. You are completely safe. You are completely hidden. Right above your head, that massive, bright Milky Way galaxy slowly turns. As that silent, ancient light of the stars caresses your face, your eyelids become so heavy. The warmth of this pod, that lullaby-like magnificence of the Milky Way, and this absolute, dark silence of the moon, slowly, very slowly draws you into itself. Your mind begins to softly float among that stardust, and everything surrenders to a sweet, very deep sleep in this endless, dark void of space. That dazzling sea of stars of the Milky Way slowly melts on the ceiling of the pod, turning into the warm, amber dimness of the Fate Whisper Room. When the bending of time and space ends as lightly as a sigh, Leo and Zoe, with that deep, cosmic sleepiness that has completely seeped into their bodies, return once again to the safe and familiar walls of the room. They are leaning back in their seats so comfortably, so relaxed, as if even their bones had turned to cotton. On their faces is an indescribable feeling of peace and security that comes from being completely protected in the most desolate point of the universe. Leo, barely able to even open his eyes, mutters in a very slow voice turning into a whisper. That absolute silence of the dark side. It completely silences all those noisy frequencies in a person's mind, Zoe. It was as if the concept of time had completely stopped there. Zoe, with that sweet, slow-motion smile on her face, slowly turns her head to the soft edge of the chair. Yes, Leo, that feeling of isolation and safety inside the pod was tremendous. But the place we lay still touched the sands of the moon. I wonder, is it possible to sleep without touching anything, breaking that final bond of gravity, and floating as if lying on a magical cloud in the air? As those soft, amber lights of the room, in harmony with Zoe's warm desire, begin to pulse and fade very slowly like a heartbeat. Fate Whisper's ever-compassionate, mother-like whispering voice echoes in their minds. The desire to sever that final physical contact with the universe, and fall into a completely weightless dream, is the highest resting point of the soul. I am carrying you to that tremendous comfort of the year 2130. In the heart of a lava cave that dried up billions of years ago, You will sleep in the compassionate arms of magnetic fields. Please, softly touch that warm, amber button. Leo and Zoe, with that indescribable feeling of relief warming them inside, touch the fourth button illuminating the room. As the room's lights take on the warm, golden ember color of an old fireplace fire, their minds and bodies softly let themselves go into that smooth time jump. When that warm rippling of lights ends, they are far below the endless, cold desolation on the surface. They are hundreds of meters deep within the massive crust of the moon. This is an ancient underground world opened by hot lava flowing from the heart of the moon to the surface billions of years ago, and then cooling in time to turn into massive, smooth tunnels. Humanity transformed this massive, natural sanctuary into a flawless refuge, the underground Amber Cave Hotel. Leo and Zoe glide through the door of that massive, natural suite reserved for them. The inside of the room is filled with that tremendous, primitive yet luxurious feeling of security that instantly embraces a person, giving the feeling of a mother's womb. The walls have those natural, smooth curves left behind when the lava cooled. Millions of tiny amber stones embedded into the rocks emit a dim, warm, and very slowly waving firefly light into the room, never straining the eyes. No wind, no sound. The freezing cold or radiation of the surface can never leak in from outside these thick basalt walls. You are in the safest, most protected shelter in this universe. The atmosphere of the room is so warm, so familiar and compassionate that you feel all the muscles in your shoulders, all the tension in your neck dispersing into this warm, dim cave like a breath. And in the exact center of the room awaits the real miracle that makes this era unique. There is no bed frame resting on the ground, no bed with legs. In the center of the room, about a meter off the floor, hovering in the air solely on an invisible magnetic field, rest two wide, cloud-like, pure white and smooth beds. The beds touch nothing. They have no contact with the floor or the ceiling. They simply rest softly on their own invisible energy pillows within that warm air. Leo and Zoe move toward these incredibly soft, floating beds. Leo places his hand on the silky surface of the bed and slowly lowers himself onto it. And that first moment he lies on the bed. There is no hard surface carrying his body, pulling him down. The smart, pressureless foam inside the bed and that magnetic field beneath it instantly grasp every curve of his body, every inch of his spine. The bed flexes millimetrically in the air with the weight of the body, and then embraces it upwards with a mother's compassion. You are touching nothing. Beneath you is a void. Above you is the reassuring ceiling of the warm cave. When Zoe also lies on her bed, that very light, lullaby-like reaction of the magnetic field begins. The beds, bringing that microscopic feeling of being suspended in the air, begin to rock like a cradle very slowly, very rhythmically and elegantly, giving the feeling of being rocked in a mother's arms. 1 millimeter to the right, 1 millimeter to the left, like a lotus leaf gliding softly on the water. When they look up, they see a massive, circular, high-resolution transparent glass screen placed on the smooth ceiling of the cave. This screen directly projects the live feed from massive telescopes on the surface into the cave. From the ceiling of this warm, dim underground shelter, dried up billions of years ago and completely isolated from the outside world, they watch the Earth. That mesmerizing swirl of blue and white illuminates the ceiling with its silent, slow-motion rotation. Below, hovering on those incredibly soft beds suspended in the air, touching nothing, you are practically drifting in the heart of a cloud. There is no pressure on your back. Your body is so light that it's as if your soul has left your body, blending into the warm, amber lights of the room. That rhythmic, very slow rocking of the magnetic field, this absolute, womb-like silence of the cave, and the peace of that massive Earth rotating slowly above. Your mind softly flows down through that invisible void beneath the bed. All thoughts, all the worries you left on Earth, melt and disappear at the door of this warm cave. You are hanging in the air. You are completely safe, and your eyelids, with the lullaby of this magnetic cradle, under the light of that sweet Earth, slowly, very slowly close. That very light, rhythmic swing of the invisible magnetic cradle slowly decelerates within the fabric of time and smoothly comes to a stop. When that cotton-like bending of time and space softly parts like a dream curtain for the last time. Leo and Zoe, with that deep, peaceful numbness where all the muscles in their bodies have practically turned to clouds, where their souls have been completely cleansed by that endless, weightless rest, return to the familiar, safe arms of the Fate Whisper Room for the last time. They are sunk into their armchairs so deeply, so completely surrendered, that even their breathing has become fully synchronized with the slow, rhythmic lights of the room. On their faces is that unshakable, absolute peace that comes from having hidden in the most protected shelter of the universe. Leo, without even attempting to open his eyelids, merely moving his lips very slowly, leaves his peaceful whisper into the dimness of the room. I completely forgot where my body began and where it ended, Zoe. Just sleeping in the compassionate arms of the void, everything was perfect. But no matter how far the human soul goes, it misses the forests of that blue sphere it was born on, the touch of its boundless waters. Zoe, with a sweet, slow-motion smile brought on by that deep drowsiness on her face, slowly turns her head toward Leo. You are right, Leo. That feeling of safety in that cave was flawless, but feeling the rustle the wind makes in the leaves, the embracing coolness of the water. I wonder if it is possible to touch the green and blue memories of Earth in this mesmerizing, weightless world of the moon. As those soft, amber lights of the room, in harmony with this final, very innocent and familiar desire, take on the tones of golden yellow and sea blue. Fate Whisper's wise voice, carrying the compassion of a mother from beyond time, echoes in their minds for the last time. The greatest victory of humanity is being able to carry that compassion to new worlds without forgetting the place it was born. I am taking you to that final, that most tremendous stop on the river of time, to the year 2160. To the holographic memory park where the beautiful memories of Earth come to life on the lunar surface with a golden light, and to that first massive, slow-motion ocean humanity created in 1/6 gravity. For this final and deepest dream, please softly touch that glowing blue and golden button. Leo and Zoe, with that deep homesickness warming them inside and that sweet peace brought by weightlessness, touch the final button on the console. As the room's lights wrap around them completely like a transparent, glowing water drop, their bodies and minds softly let themselves go into that last, longest time jump. When that transparent rippling of time ends, they are far from those massive, smooth silver deserts on the surface. They are inside a massive ecological dome, miles wide, built into the heart of the moon. This is the greatest masterpiece of the year 2160, the holographic memory park. Beneath their feet is a soft and warm soil texture, cleared of moon dust. However, the forest rising around them is not made of the trees we know. Humanity has brought the memory of those ancient forests it left on Earth here, in the purest form of light and art. Around them rise massive holographic trees, woven from trillions of quantum light particles, glowing with a golden yellow and soft emerald green color. Leo and Zoe, inside this golden forest, begin to walk softly, gliding with feather-light steps given by that 1/6 gravity. The leaves made of light sway slowly, rhythmically, exactly as if in a real forest, with the touch of a very light wind that doesn't actually exist. When they touch the golden, transparent trunks of the trees, their hands softly pass through the light, leaving behind only a very light, tingling, warm quantum energy they feel on their fingertips. Around them, that comforting forest hum from ancient times, the deep, echoing, and lullaby-like songs of birds softly echo inside the dome through the flawless acoustics of artificial intelligence. This forest of light takes the mind to the purest, most beautiful memories of the past, like a silent meditation temple that completely cleanses the soul. These are not the rushed forests of Earth. This is a garden of absolute peace, where time has stopped, where memories are frozen with a golden light. As they continue to walk, gliding through the golden lights, the forest slowly thins out, and before them appears that tremendous miracle that surpasses the limits of the human mind. The first artificial ocean on the moon, stretching for miles, an endless body of water merging with the reflections of the massive glass dome on the horizon. But this looks nothing like those fierce, constantly churning, and heavy oceans on Earth. In this world where gravity is only 1/6 of the Earth's, the nature of water has completely changed. The massive waves on the surface of the ocean, instead of crashing onto the shore and foaming, rise meters high in slow motion, practically hang in the air, and seconds later, descend back to the surface of the sea with a very soft, silky curve. The massive water drops splashing into the air, hover for seconds like crystal spheres. Leo and Zoe, in their ultra-thin smart suits, softly release themselves from the warm sands on the shore into the waters of this slow-motion ocean. The moment they enter the water, the temperature of the water is exactly the same as their body temperature. They cannot feel where the water begins and where their own skin ends. Everything integrates with each other. Leo pushes himself forward by lightly pushing his arms back in the water. This movement, which would only take him a few meters on Earth, softly launches him out of the water's surface into the air like a dolphin. In the air, he rises meters high along with those massive drops of water. Time practically stops. Gravity is so weak that, as Leo glides in the air, he opens his arms, watches that blue light of the Earth from the ceiling of the dome, and slowly, after a fall that takes seconds, returns as softly as a feather into that warm water without making a single sound. Zoe also curls weightlessly in the water. Thanks to the 1/6 gravity, moving underwater is no different from flying in the vacuum of space. There is no resistance. The weight of the water doesn't crush their bodies. They simply dance with endless freedom inside a massive, liquid cocoon that compassionately envelopes them. Those massive, warm waves rising in slow motion, softly embrace them, lift them meters into the air, and slowly lower them back down like a cradle. The silence perfectly blends with the heavy, lullaby-like, and resonant wave sounds of the water. The memories of Earth, the glow of the forests of light, and the compassion of this massive, slow-motion ocean wash away even the last crumbs of thought in their minds, softly leaving them into the waters of eternity. Everything melts. Everything surrenders to absolute peace in the endless slowness of the waves. Now, the waters of all those times, of all those eras are slowly calming down. Time is merely a river flowing in your mind, and now you are at the calmest, safest, most weightless point of that river. Whether inside that transparent tent of the year 2060, watching the silent rise of the Earth as the steam of hot coffee caresses your face. Whether on that glassed terrace of the Tycho crater, feeling as light as a feather while standing on the edge of the void, feeling the faint rustle of the dust beneath your feet. Whether in that hot lava cave of the year 2080, drifting weightlessly in a fetal position inside a massive, amber-colored water drop suspended in the air. Whether in the absolute, freezing silence of the year 2100, watching the massive, purple, and golden-yellow river of the Milky Way from inside your cozy sleep pod. Whether rocking very softly 1 millimeter to the right, 1 millimeter to the left, in the invisible arms of that magnetic bed of the year 2130. Or in 1/6 gravity of the year 2160, gliding in the warm waves of that slow-motion ocean, in those moments when time stands still like a dolphin. They all lead to the same place. To absolute safety, to absolute silence, to absolute peace. The massive, protective silence of that silver sphere, of the moon, is now filling directly into your room. All that gravity of the Earth has completely lifted from your shoulders, from your back, from your neck. Your body no longer puts weight on the bed. Just like those pods in the vacuum of space, just like those beds suspended in the air, you have become completely light. Now, inside that future you have chosen, inside that endless silence, your eyelids are becoming as heavy as the fine sands of those craters. All your thoughts mix into those slow-motion waves and softly drift away from your mind. Take a deep, very deep breath. And as you exhale, completely let yourself go, forever, into the compassionate, silent, windless embrace of space. Everything has stopped. Everything is safe. You are safe. Good night, and sweet, weightless journeys to the silent dreams of that silver sphere.